as a ring announcer.
Yes,
so
I am.
Nothing too bad that you have license.
I know. I am a licensed ring announcer.
I want to keep that license.
Yeah, anybody can have kids, but you need a license to call a fight. I love it. In any case, from what I've seen, I have seen so far nothing but professionalism, what goes on behind the scenes in the prep rooms. With the doc is on site, all the staff is there. There's so far I've not seen anybody skimping on what needs to be done to make sure everyone is safe and that the bout is up to standards.
But Jay, you work as a representative to make sure that it's safe for the several.
Even if the state takes over, what would they do different? Whereas we have doctors on staff right there. We have all the physicals before that. We have everything done already. There's not much they're going to do. We have rules that are being enforced. They're going to do the same rules we're doing. There's really not that much different. There's just an additional charge with the state to do it because you're going to be bringing people in from different distances. We can offer a personalized service that works with each person and everybody else's because you get to know, help the people and everybody else's, and you can work, and it's, basically we're all following the same rules.
Yeah.
We're following the same thing.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, it's not broke.
Yeah.
It is not broke in Missouri.
Because I know in Georgia, I was talking to a young lady who was trying to get one of her pro fighters on and ask about amateur fighters. They can't go pro in Georgia until they've had 10 amateur fights.
Really?
They can't lose. They have to fight with shin guards and no ground and pound until they've had three amateur fights. And you can't. And you have to have 2 years of training also.
Well, there's no. Is there punching to the head? I think they've got all kind of rules that we don't
no
have.
No ground and pound.
Right. There's no ground and pound. And shin guards. Now, how do you sneak out of a hold when you have a shin guard on?
Sure, right.
It makes it really tough. The gloves are bad enough, but when you have the shin pads on and you're caught in an ankle lock, you're not getting out.
No,
when you're caught in a knee bar, you're going to get caught.
Yeah, it's interesting rules. I mean, I understand you can go too far with stuff.
Missouri has good rules. We've done really well. There's been very minimum injuries here. We're doing a very good job. The sanctioning bodies have done a good job. Everything here. The state of Missouri handled it very well.
Issue settled next.
That's it.
No, but they could come in and they could any day switch it. But somebody had to tell me, and I haven't heard yet what they're going to bring to the table. Now they're saying is, and we're going to talk about that, Jim. There's a 62-year-old guy that fought a 25-year-old guy.
On another sanctioning, but yeah, I don't want to say, but last year that somebody had sanctioned about against, and one of the guys was supposed to fight someone else closer to his age, but they went through so many different opponents. It's a no-win for the poor guy that's fighting the older gentleman, and he got smashed in whatever, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds, whatever it wasn't long. And the difference is you can train, Jay, and you've stayed sharp. What I know is that nobody comes back in any sport with any great success if you've been out of it for any length of time, period. I've never... Tell me anyone who's been retired for 5 or 10 years and comes back and truly does it at a high level.
Right.
Well, he trained hard. He was in shape, but he got caught.
But
he walked out and the guy got caught. Anybody could get knocked out in the first 10 seconds.
And reflexes for only the exceptional in that age group are going to be sharp. And that's the problem. The other kid could be as experienced as him or whatever. You got a young guy with reflexes that at most...
So you should have fought a slower guy is what you're saying.
Reflexes matter in the matchup with that. I
agree. Well, when you're saying it's a good matchup, that's a good matchup.
Right.
Don't get
but it was initially another opponent, right? This just was a last minute thing.
See, there comes a time where you just got to say, you know what, this match isn't going to happen, and I'm sorry, guys.
Exactly.
It's not fair.
Don't jeopardize the safety.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, I understand.
I don't know both fighters, and I never saw it. I'd love to see it and see just what a mismatch it was, if it was a mismatch.
Even if it wasn't, it was a no-win for us because now it's just one of those stories that goes along.
Yeah, if he got hurt,
take over.
He got hurt, then everybody's saying, why'd you even do it?
It's going to be an iconic story, and unfortunately referenced in the negative side.
You can't spin that to a
No, you can't. And that's unfortunately, you're right, that it's going to always be looked at as negative, and people are always going to hear the one-line blurb.
But he was, what, 62?
I believe so.
I think it was 62. That's not, Foreman was 45, and that was a big deal. Bernard Hopkins was the other night was, 47. Okay. That's a big deal. But those guys were in fantastic shape, and they
never quit, really.
They never quit. That's exactly. Actually, he's doing pretty good. He's upped his game.
But there might be something to be said that get a discount on your fighting license in the state because you have an AARP card.
There you go.
I mean, there's something, if you qualify for that, then maybe you shouldn't be doing this.
Well,
So-
here is one difference. If it had been a professional fight, at whatever age, you're taking, over 40, you're gonna be taking CAT scans and those things. And then on an amateur level, do they make that guy take a CAT scan?
Right.
I don't know.
I wouldn't think so.
And I would think that anybody over a certain age would be smart to do that.
Now, would you have been okay if you did a kickboxing match?
No, I think it's the same thing. You're taking blows to the head.
Right.
I mean, that's really the bottom line is, I know at my age, I've had just from, falling down or numerous other injuries. I had a couple concussions that had nothing to do with training or working out or anything. So, people have to.
Well, I tell you what, remember when that, the politician's wife was skiing and just fell down softly and then died the next day? I mean, you just never know.
Right.
And had a helmet on.
Sure.
I mean, so it can happen anywhere there, but MMA is still at the bottom, and kickboxing is still towards the bottom of the
and it can
percentage
happen.
of injuries they have.
There was a thing going on. There's a kid right now that's paralyzed from the neck down. They got caught in a guillotine, and it went wrong. And,
Yeah.
And he's paralyzed right now from the neck down, and in another state. But it happens, and it can happen. That's why it's.
Well, that actually happened was that wrestling? No, that was in
No,
MMA.
MMA.
Right,
And it's important that there are sanctioning bodies that are scrupulous enough to actually monitor the matches. See, that's my
Well,
fear.
let me just comment on this here since you brought it up. As a sanctioning rep, people send me a list. I just got a list today of an event that's coming up.
You look-
And now what I do is I go and I look up the records. If it's too lopsided, I call it up and said, hold it, what's going on here?
Right.
If I see too much, this guy's won, even they both had 12 fights, and this guy's 12-1, or 11-1, say, and this guy is 4-8, well, hold it, something's wrong here. They shouldn't be fighting each other. So we check that. We got to make sure that the weights are pretty close. We got to make sure that their records are pretty close, that how many times they fought, the win-loss record is very close, and if everything looks right,
They're not on
then
suspension.
there's no
Any
suspension.
organization.
We look for that one there, that they've never been injured in the last couple months, and that everything's fine. At that point, we okay the fight. So, I mean, we're looking out for people here. So I would have looked at that one very hard.
Right.
So I gotta admit, I'm trying to, because I'm getting old, and I'd like to think that I still got a few little left in me. My tank's not totally empty, but I would have looked at that one.
Right.
I heard it was coming up, but he was trying to set a record to be the oldest MMA fighter in Missouri. Or in the country.
Perfect example, Jay D'Amato, right here, a man who obviously oversees a lot of those fights, giving an example of what the good oversight, is. So that's a good example.
Safety's still big. I mean,
Sure.
good matchmakers, listen.
Well, Jim, would you have taken that fight?
No.
No. Would you have taken that
No,
fight?
no.
Well, see, that's what a good promoter does. A good promoter says, no, that's not healthy, that's not good for the business, and that was it.
The sport or your business, or,
Right.
there's just.
Like I said, I would have looked at that.
As the rep, they
Right.
don't allow it to happen. I
Right.
mean, there's times when Jake
We've
calls me
called-
and we have several conversations, say, look, this is what I know, and he says, okay. Or, no,
Yeah.
Jim, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, well,
So-
that's not a good matchup, let's not do it, let's just call it off.
Right,
And
it's not
let's
all-
not replace them.
And you're smart enough to know. I mean, we've had discussions too where you'll ask me about something and I'll say, this guy's 3 losses are against quality opponents,
Right.
and the other guy hasn't beat a quality opponent yet, so that's why you've got a discrepancy of one guy's 3-3.
But there's a reason for
And one guy's
it.
that's 4-0, but.
But I'm looking out for the fighters, you're looking out for the fighters, when everybody's looking out for the fighters,
That's what it works.
that's when
You're
it
going to have a
works.
safe, good show.
But if nobody's watching out for them, that's what everybody wants to see happen.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like we're on the right track. Missouri's keeping it real, good oversight, obviously good promoters in the business. We're going to go ahead and get ready for a break here. I do believe, Jim, we're going to have another one of your fighters.
We got
on
our
there.
main event, CJ Hunter, coming in.
All right, so
Right here.
give us about 3 minutes. We'll be back. Sport Fighting League report.
See me ride out of the sunset on your
All right, welcome back to the Sport Fighting League report. In studio, again, I do have the American Cage Wars team. Again, going to be June 4th, Eureka, Motel 6, 8 o'clock Saturday night.
No, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, I apologize. You would have definitely been late. I do have Jim Smothers in. We're going to go and introduce another one of his fighters, CJ Hunter, which I've actually been able to call before. Welcome, CJ, to the Sport Fighting League report.
Thank you. I'm glad to be had.
Great. Jay?
Now, you're not actually one of Jim's fighters. You're fighting on Jim's card this weekend.
Yeah, I fought on a couple of Jim's cards. He holds a good event.
You won a couple of those too, I think.
I've won all of them.
I know you have.
Well, there you go.
Don't be fooled by this guy here. He wins a lot of matches.
Well, discrepancies.
Nah, I'm just a goof. Don't pay attention. Trust me, you can take me.
Well, look, last time, I love this guy. He came to the last one there. He looked like he had his pajamas on. You're looking like a tough guy again, aren't you? He's got a little backpack, little thing, comes out, beats the hell out of the guy, puts his pajamas back on, smiling, happiest guy I know.
I'm a goof. I really am. It's like the pajama pants are just to stay relaxed. But
That was great.
My mama got me those as a surprise gift like the day before. I was like, they were Super Mario
they were.
pajamas. It was Mario riding Yoshi. They were flying along. I was like, these are the most awesome things ever.
They would look so comfortable. I was jealous.
It's like, how can I not wear them?
All right, tell us about your fight coming up.
Oh, okay. This is a title fight. I just recently beat a really good guy from his team. His name was Trey Hart. He's really tough, and I earned a title fight after that. It's Harlan Burtrell. It's a title fight for 155. It's actually my second title fight. I recently, in April, I won a title out in Branson, and this will be title number 2.
Good.
So, what team do you fight for?
I fight for Black Cobra. Black Cobra MMA. We're over here in St. Louis, local team. Got a lot of good guys, real dedicated training ethic, and we get stuff done.
Great.
Do you have anybody else on the team that's fighting this?
My coach and teammate Charles is fighting, and that's all that I know of at this point.
Okay, so we're going to have Charles come over here in just a minute there. You won't miss Charles when you see him.
Nah, what are you talking about?
No.
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. You'll see exactly what I'm talking
You
about.
never notice Charles. He's practically invisible. He's a wallflower.
Right. So,
He's a wall. You're right.
well, tell us how long you've been training. What's your specialty?
I'm not the littlest guy, so I can talk.
I'm a little column A, a little column B, kind of jiu-jitsu guy. I really am.
Yeah.
I've been training in some form